I want to introduce Lars, the Netherlands book blogger. Thank you for coming.
Oh, wow.
To start with, tell about yourself and what are you interested in, and how have you begun your reading path?
Okay, so as you just got told, I'm Lars. Hi, I'm currently 18 years old and I am a student. And as it was told again, I'm from the Netherlands, so that's why I have the accent. Can't really drop it, but it's fine. Yeah, I'm completely interested in books, obviously, otherwise we wouldn't be here. That's like the main reason. And beyond that interest, I just love to listen to music or be busy with creative activities or just hang out with friends. The reading part, that's quite a funny story. So I was always the kind of person that said, me reading? No, I don't read, you know? Back in the days you were too cool to read. But then one day my friend brought me to a bookstore because she wanted to go. And I thought, okay, sure, I will go with you. And then we saw this book standing there and she just picked it up because she was interested. And she said, Lars, you need just to try one book. One book, that's it. I'm only asking you to read one book. So, and it's like a close friend of mine. So I thought, why not? And she picked a book off the shelves. And I can show you which one it is. It's the book that I have for the longest now. It's the book They Both Die at the End from Adam Silvera. And she kind of explained to me what the book was about, and she just said, give it a try. If you don't like it, then you don't, but at least you gave it a try. And it's English, so that's even better, you know, because the Dutch books are, you know, less interesting. And I went with it. I thought, sure, why not? It won't harm that much. So I bought it. As you can see, I did not know how to treat books because I can literally do this. I wasn't really skilled to that. And then I just started reading this and I ended up loving this book. Maybe it's because it's the first book that I've read, but I was so intrigued and like the addiction just started. I thought I need more books. I want to read more. I want to be out there and read every book that there is. And yeah, that's really how my reading path began. So far, so good, I would say.
I think it's really cool that someone this way started your book addiction. After that, you wanted to buy more and more books, and then you created your book blog. And how did you come up with idea to do that?
Okay, so basically everybody was on TikTok. It was already that kind of phase where everybody's on TikTok. It's normal now. I was curious about the books that I've read. That was like, as for example, They Both at the End, The Song of Achilles, It Ends With Us. The Sun is also started. There were the books that I already read, and I was curious, and I just started looking on TikTok for videos about them. And then eventually you end up on being on Book Talk. And that was still my private account, so I didn't really do anything with making videos about them. And there were these two Dutch book influencers, and I thought they were great, and I thought I would love to do this. I always was kind of working with social media, trying to have an aesthetic Instagram, you know, that kind of story. And then I decided, you know what? I can't remember. It was like late at night. I should have been to bed and got early to bed for school, but I was too busy making all these different platforms. I started with Instagram, then I made TikTok, then I made YouTube, and then I made Goodreads all at once. And yeah, that's basically how it all began. I do remember when I first started making videos on TikTok, I was scared to death to show my face. I thought, we're not gonna do that, we're not gonna show my face, we're just gonna stay anonymous and make videos. But those videos weren't really working. And then one summer, I was kinda in a now or never mood, and I thought, why not post one video where you can see my face when I talk about books. And that book just did so well, it just clicked with Book Talk, and from there I just started just gaining followers and friends, and it became something so big and so beautiful, and I'm still so thankful for it.
Like inspiring story, I think that everyone, if they are scared about to start to be like book bloggers, they can do that. You know that when we read books, they are like memories, and they leave footprints in our heart. What is the most memorable book that forever stayed in your heart?
Okay, so this book is known by all of my followers. Whenever I go live, they are already saying, Lars, when are you going to start talking about this book? And I also have 2 editions of them. I started off with the paperback, Invisible Life, Eddie LaRue. It's quite a huge book, if you can see, like it's the size of my head. This is my all-time favorite book, and I will never forget about this book. What is kind of ironically, because what this book is about is kind of about forgetting. I remember that the first time that I read it, I was flabbergasted, but I wasn't saying like, oh, this is my favorite book forever, I'm gonna love it. Until a few weeks/months after reading it, I started to see that I only thought about this book. I thought, whoa, this happened in Invisible Life, Eddie LaRue, and I started keep on thinking about it, and with that process, it just became my favorite. And then eventually I also bought a 2nd edition. It's also a special edition, and I'm really happy with this one. So this is definitely the book that is the most memorable for me, and there are also some quotes in this book that I still use this day.
I started reading this book, but unfortunately didn't finish now, but I kind of like it. And I guess it's a really cool story.
Well, I wouldn't really say cool story, but it's such a beautiful story. And if I can give a tip to you, if you read this book, not only focusing on the plot of the characters, the plot itself, the world development, if you won't focus only on one subject, but focus on everything, every word, every punctuation, you would see that the book is so beautiful and so mesmerizable, and I just love it, and it's so beautiful, and I will never stop talking about this book. Never.
So you're like promoter of this book?
Yeah, basically. It's like, oh, you know Lars? No, I do know the boy always talk about The Visible Life, Eddie LaRue by V.E. Schwab.
I have like the same story with the Song of Achilles. When I read it the first time, I thought, wow, that's really cool story. That's really amazing story. But then passed like a month, and I thought that all that month I was thinking only about this book. I saw the edits in TikTok only about this book and quotes, and I can't stop thinking about it, and it's like an obsession.
Oh, same. Like The Song of Achilles is also my 2nd favorite book. It was so beautiful and heartbreaking, but still, I cannot explain it. That book is also so great.
You really have a high English level. Your first video in YouTube was in your native language, in Dutch. Then you started shooting in English. How did you improve your skills in English? Did reading in foreign language raise your level?
So I can also explain why the first one was in Dutch. It was because I was so scared to talk like basically English when it's not your native language on a social media platform, because we cannot forget like the things that happen on social media, like you can get bullied with it. So I was really scared of it, but then indeed I started doing it, and basically that also improved my English, like talking a lot of English, like whenever I got the chance. And I think the main reason why my English got better and better over time is that I watched a lot of series, but I also really listened to a lot of songs that are all in English. So you kind of pick up on that, and you hear a new word, and you think like, oh, that's interesting, I'm gonna stick that in my vocabulary. So that's why I think my English got better. We also started very young at school with English. When I was around the age of 8, we already started. I got people to me asking, yeah, I'm so scared to read English books because my English sucks so much. And I just say start with English books, and over the time you can pick up more difficult ones. And you wouldn't even notice, because while you're reading from easy books to more difficult ones, you will grow your English and kind of not notice it. That's, I think, the main reasons why my English improved.
Yeah, it's really hard for me, especially to talk in English. I can read and I can understand what I'm reading, but it's hard to explain my thoughts. You do that really, really good. And in videos, I thought
Thank
at
you.
first that you're a native speaker, and oh my god, wow.
No, well, thank you. I really appreciate it, but I think my English is a little above the average in the Netherlands, so for me it's not that big. But thank you. I really appreciate the comment.
We hear about a lot of famous books, mostly from TikTok, because they become viral, like Cruel Prince, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, It Ends With Us. What is your attitude towards books that are very popular in TikTok? Do you think that they are overrated? And what little-known books would you like the majority to hear about?
Okay, so basically I have mixed feelings about books being praised on Book Talk, because basically you could write a book that sucks so much, but once it goes viral, and people will always find some positive thing and they will talk positive about it, but forget the negative things about it. And then you eventually buy the book because you saw it on Book Talk, and then you read it and then you're disappointed, obviously. So for me, it's hard to trust Book Talk. I normally buy the books that other book influencers with the same taste like me. I normally only buy books that they recommend because I know our tastes in book are familiar. Yeah, it's not really, the rating is not really accurate, and normally I just look up on Goodreads because they're more honest right there. And obviously sometimes they write about the books, but sometimes they're not. And I think we should, as one Book Talk community, also start praising the little known authors / books. We only pick up the books that go viral, but we just skip the books that just come out, or we don't talk about them. If you're a famous author, sure, you will see it on Book Talk one day if once your book will go viral on it. But if we start to also think about small authors and what we could do to them as a community, I think that we could do some great work. And I would love for the Book Talk community to hear about Unrequited Love by Mina Ramsey. Fun fact, this book was my first collaboration, so it's also very special to me. But besides that, it's a really good book. It's about Egyptian women and their beliefs and the culture and how to accept love, and also forced proximity, arranged marriage, enemies to lovers vibes, and Lady is the pet in the book, and we just all love Lady. She's an amazing cat. But that's besides the point. I just really love this book, and I think more people should read it. It really talks about, as I just said, about the culture blindly and immigrant, and how it is to live in America as an immigrant and stuff like that. And yeah, it's a really good book. So I would really love for the Book Talk community to start picking up this book.
I agree with you when you talk about the Book Talk, books that got viral, because we don't pay attention to books that there's nobody talking.
Exactly.
So it's really, like, unfortunately,
sad, to be honest. We could do so much as a Book Talk community, but nobody does it, and I'm like, why? It's just one video, you know? How hard is it to make one video?
And we like stand in the same place because we talk about again and again one book that all hear about.
Yeah, exactly. We won't evolve if we stick with the same authors and books. And yeah, I mentioned to another couple book influencers and they totally agree with me, but it's hard to make a little known author viral because you need to make the right video that will end up on the right view page with the right audience, and that's just a whole process that's kind of hard to succeed.
Donna Tartt once said, I'm nothing in my soul if I'm not obsessive, and in your social media you often talk about Shatter Me series. Can this quote be applied to describe your passion for the Harry Matthews books?
It's another story behind it. Basically, I see TikTok's idea on my view page, and I'm like, what can I do with it, with what book, you know? What video can I make about a book? And normally every video that I see on my view page and I get inspired, I automatically think about Cherami series, because it's one of my favorite series, so you remember more than the other books that you read, obviously. So I think the thing is why I make a lot of videos about Cherami series is just because every TikTok idea, I could just relate them easily to Cherami, and if I wanted to relate them to any other book, I need to look into it and search things up, and I think it's just laziness, but you know, so it kind of works with it, but also not. And I wouldn't say for every Tahira Mafi books, because I've only read the Cherami series so far. Still have some other books to read, but my TBR is growing faster than anything else in this world, so I don't know when I will read them. But I think you could kind of bond the quote to my Cherami passion, but also not really, you know.
So you're not so passionate about the series? Or?
Yeah, I am. I'm like, it's basically my favorite series. You see me sooner talk about The Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue, as I just showed you, than the Cherami series. And why? I have no idea. But it's so not easy to put in a series in your top 5, because the series itself is already 9 books. So you would pick your favorite book of the series, but then it's still not in my top 5. It's so weird and so complicated. I'm making myself so hard. But what I'm just trying to say is that yes, I love the Cherami series. Yes, I think about that series multiple times in a month. But it's not really an obsession that I would say. It's more just loving it and wanting to share it with people out there. And if we will talk about a book that I am obsessed with, it's just Invisible Life of Eddie LaRue. I can giggle any moment if I will talk about that book. I could be like, yeah, let me tell you about that book. And with the Cherami series, I would like, oh yeah, well, at first it's an amazing series. So that's basically how it works.
I saw that you're also passionate about Greek mythology and read some books about by the Sam. And what is your favorite myth, and what can you recommend in this genre?
I honestly do not really know that much about Greek mythology. As you said, I just started reading it, so I don't really have the knowledge of it all. And most that I read about it is retelling, so it's not spot on. So far, I read 4-ish books. I think I could call 4. I read Medusa by Jessie Burton. I also read this small book by Madeline Miller. It's really small, really thin, so I don't know if I can call it a book. It's more a novel or a short story. And then I also read, of course, the other 2 books of Madeline Miller, Circe and Song of Achilles. So I didn't really got into all the Greek mythologies, and don't get me wrong, I love Patroclus, I love Circe, I love Galatea, but one of my favorites is Medusa. And you're probably wondering like why, because Medusa is kind of serious subject. And sure, you could see it as a sad story, as you should, obviously. But you can also take so much power out of this book, because she gets sexual assault, but of course, and still get punished for it, even though it wasn't her fault. She gets turned obviously into Medusa, but she still takes so much power out of herself and be like, I'm not gonna stand down to any man anymore. And of course she went like down low mentally because she got turned into Medusa, but she also got herself back up again. And I just think you could really take some power out this book. It's such a beautiful retelling, and it's powerful, it's poetic, and it just refreshes the ancient myth about Medusa.
I also really like Medusa's story, because it's like sometimes really sad, because she really had a bad life path. It was difficult, and it's really hurt her, and she needed to become strong, because in that way she can't Like she can't give up in this situation because it's not choice to give up. So it's a really good choice. I'm a Greek mythology fan, and it's my favorite also.
Right, yeah, it's most people when you talk about Medusa, they see it as a sad story, like, oh yeah, that's the girl. I'm like, that's not a girl, that's a woman who went from strong to weak, but not as in willingly, because she got took down obviously by Athena, but she made herself stronger again. She became the independent woman, the woman who knows what she wants and will do whatever she needs to do. And I just really love that about her. And I think it's weird to say because people use her tattoo as a meaning, and sometimes I want to say let's stop using her as a sad example and make her the villain, because why is she the villain? In every movie or strip cartoon that you will see, Medusa is the villain. She always is, and I don't know why, because she should be the hero, you know, she should be the one that people should praise. And yeah, I just get mad about that. Whenever I see a movie and they talk about Medusa being the villain, I'm like, no, I'm good. But this is, by the way, about the Roman Medusa, because you have two sides of her story, I think so. You have the Greek one and also the Roman one. But I think we're talking about the Roman one.
Do you know that it is two versions? No.
You didn't? No, in one version, she's really like killing everyone and being like bad, but I don't like that story. I'm here to praise Medusa, not to be like, oh, she's such a villain. I refuse.
She's a hero, and someone who wanted to be heard, so everyone can hear her voice now.
Yeah, I totally agree with that.
What is your most favorite and least favorite book trope, and why?
Okay, so I'll start off with my favorite. My favorite book trope is enemies to lovers. It's probably the most heard book trope, but I'm just here for the bantering and then the final confession about how they hated the other one, but that hatred turned into love. And 9 out of 10 times those confessions are just it. Like they take you right at your soul and drag it all the way over. So yeah, I really love enemies to lovers for the bantering, for the confessions, for like trying to be better than the other one. And yeah, that's my favorite. And for the least favorite, I am going for the pregnancy trope. Yeah, I do not like the pregnancy trope at all, or even kind of have a child, because most of the time when the main character gets a child, the whole plot of the book goes downwards, because out of the blue the attention is only on the child, or she's getting hold back because she can't do anything or she's pregnant or she has a child. You know, being pregnant and having a child in a book really takes down the main character. And as an example, you have like these warriors, and then once they get a child, they're not a warrior anymore, you know, because they need to be saved while they're pregnant, but they also have to take care of their child, so they stop being a warrior. And that's what I don't like about that. They give up their whole kind of personality, but also their whole life for a child. And in real life, that's like sweet, you know, be there for your child, have that child-mother relationship. But in the books, I just don't like it. It's not it for me.
When I start reading a new book, I have some routines that I usually do. For example, I prepare music playlists. What about you? Do you have reading rituals? Do you prepare music playlists before starting reading a book? Do you switch on the candles, or maybe you prefer to use some stickers?
I just don't have any ritual.
Really?
I just don't. Yeah, as long as I'm just sitting comfortable somewhere and I have my music in, I'm good to go. It could be anywhere, it could be whenever, wherever. And it's not really a ritual, but I can fully enjoy reading when I know that there's like nothing else I should do, you know, when I really have the time for reading. And I do not trust myself on lighting candles. I will probably burn down the whole house. So I'm avoiding the candles for now. Maybe later, but I don't think so. And stickers, I don't really have stickers of books. I sometimes get them with a collaboration or on another way, but I don't really have stickers.
You don't prepare anything like...
No, I just sit and open my book and I'll be gone. Nope. You could talk to me. You could say, Lars, someone is dying, help me. But I will just be reading like, wow. Once I'm in a book, I won't get out until I want to get out. So that's kind of a toxic trait.
It's normal that someone calls you and you are in a book world.
Right? It should be the new normal. I don't care what's happening over there. Something is happening in here, so I need to stay here.
Also, when you have some problems, you don't pay attention to it, but you pay attention to characters' problems, and it's more interesting.
Yeah, exactly. You have problems that I need to help you out? No, sorry. The main character is my main priority right now. You can come back later. Yeah, I don't care that you're my best friend. Just wait. No, kidding. I love my best friend if she's watching this.
You know that in TikTok we have like fantasy queens, I can say that. It's Holly Black, Lee Bardugo, and of course Sarah J. Maas. How do you feel about the huge hype on the side of Sarah J. Maas? Do you respect that it is deserved?
Well, it's so funny that you're asking me this question like right now, because I'm currently reading the Agatha series, so the timing is perfectly at first, but I'm not that far in. I am currently at the first 3 books. Look how massive they are. By the way, Sarah J. Maas, if you're seeing this, please don't do this again. It's like really hard for me to read them because every time I see the thickness and I'm like, yeah, I have something else to do. Besides that, I am loving it so much. I am totally at the right place with these books. So I do agree with the respect for it. It's so good that when I will be reading this outside or anywhere among the people, so publicly, I will giggle out loud. I cannot hold back my emotions. I cannot hold the poker face. I will start laughing, crying, screaming, whatever happens in the book. I will do it right there, right without any shame, because it's the Agatha series. Agatha, the first book, I ended up giving it 4 stars because it was great. It was good. It was really good, but not mind-blowing, amazingly wow. It's more focused on world building and character building, so that's probably why. And then you have the second book, and if you were talking to me while I was reading this, not like literally reading, but just in the time period that I was reading this book, you could say, yeah, and then I fell off my bike. And I'm like, so in this book, they literally... I was so obsessed with this book that I would start talking about it any moment. I did not care. I needed to talk about this book. I even said to some of my friends, don't talk to me because I will start talking about this book, and I know it's not the topic that you want to talk about right now. Come back later, I would say. And now I'm at the 3rd book, also like a chunk, not that far in, and this is only 143 pages. I might start crying because the last book is even more thicker, but it's fine. It's worth it. It's really worth it. And I must say, when you start reading this book, you will fly through it. Like today, I looked at the page number and I was like, oh, already at page 100. So yeah. By the way, just to conclude this all, I love Sarah J. Maas and I do respect the hype for it.
When you took these 3 books, you become so emotional.
I just love talking about books. I cannot help myself. Once I start, I will just continue until you literally ask me, Lars, it's enough. Can you just stop? And I'm like, okay, fair. Sarah J. Maas appreciation. Did you read the books?
No,
I'm sorry for interrupting, but did you read them?
I wanted to.
But you love fantasy, right?
I wanted to read. I think that after that, your smile and your emotional that you became when you read it, I think that I probably go and buy it.
Yeah, you should do it. I'm here. I will support you till the day I die. You should really read them. You should. They're really good. They're really good. They're worth the hype. and worth the money. I know we're not that rich, but you know, it's worth it. Trust me on it.
Okay, I have so much books that my mom said, how many?
Oh.
It's enough. Stop buying books, but then
It's never enough. Let's just already agree on it. It's never enough. Let's live. I don't know if you read the book. Let's live like Alaska. Just buy books until there's no more room on the world. You know.
I read John Green's book.
I still have 2 other books, Paper Towns and Will Grayson that I still have not read, but I've read Looking for Alaska, and I love that book. I
also love The Fault in Our Stars. It's a really good one.
Yeah, I already watched that movie, so I'm not quite sure if I should read it, you know?
I was reading after watching the movie, and for me it also was heartbreaking, and it's like a really good story that should be reread, I think, after a movie. Mm-hmm. But it's John Green have really great movie adaptations of his books.
True, that's very true.
I saw that you read If We Were Villains by Melanie Rio, a wonderful story about characters that are passionate about Shakespeare and theater and plays at all, and they are, you know, they are very different from each other. They have really different behaviors at all. And with what character did you associate yourself and why?
Okay, I have no idea. I find it so hard to compare / bond myself with characters because, yeah, obviously sometimes you have something in common, but the rest is so different that you won't even think about, hey, this could be me, you know? I would say, oh, wow, yeah, me too. But I would never say, oh, you could be me. But luckily enough, I did once make a test of which, if we were villains character, are you? And apparently, Flippa came out of it. That I related the most with Flippa, that I could be accused of murder, but that my love was to die for. That was basically what it said. I was like, okay, I can live with that. Yeah, sure. So I guess Flippa according a personality test, but I can't really say and confirm that.
I maybe associate myself with Oliver, I think, because
it's the main character, right? Sorry, I'm so bad
it's
with
main character because I love when it's unreliable narrator. We don't know if he was telling truth, because all that it's like he saw the situation by his view, and it's not the way it happened. We don't need like when we have a lot of questions when we close the book and we don't know what it will.
The ending had me flabbergasted. I remember reading that one sentence. Wait, I have it right here. It was ex munt omnes or something. I can show it to you. It's right here saying, and I googled that and I was like, shut the front door. Are you for real? I need a second book now. I cannot live like this. I need to know if there... I can't say anything without giving spoilers, but I just need to know, you know? I can't remember the reaction. I was like, no way. I texted everybody. I was like, do you know?
I was screaming when I saw the last word.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I was screaming on the inside. I was like, no, you cannot do this to me. Not now. Not reading after a whole book about the desire, but not really seeing it, you know? I was like, no, you cannot do that to me. You cannot.
It's really cool, like, the Melanie Rio gives this to us. This story.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even know her name was Melanie, so you said Melanie, and I was like, Melanie, who's Melanie? And then I was like, oh, ML Rio. Okay, got him.
Okay, it's I think that it's really easy question for every book lover, hardcover or paperback? What for you is better?
I'm a paperback person. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I feel when I have a hardcover, I just need to be so gentle with it because I don't want to damage it. And of course, you also have that with paperback. But I love when a paperback has like lift. I don't know if you know what I mean with that, but has a little dents, little damage. The pages are used, and I just really love that. It gives a book like a soul, and it shows that you read it and you loved it. For example, obviously the Shyamalan series, you know, we already talked about it. This is not in the most amazing state ever, but that's what I love about it, because when people will see it, they will see a book that has read, has been loved, and read again. So yeah, that's why I love paperbacks. They're lighter. I mean, do we really want to walk throughout a whole city with a heavy bag because you decided to carry a hardcover with you? And I'm also scared to annotate in hardcovers, because I feel like hardcovers you can always resell, but paperbacks you can resell them for €2 if you're lucky. Yeah, and the prices, they're also really expensive. I'm like, am I gonna pay an expensive hardcover if I don't even know if I like the book? Yeah. You know? This is Life at La Rue. As I said, when I love the book, and I just really love the book, I will buy the hardcovers of it. But then only the special editions, of course. If I will buy a hardcover of, let's say, If We Were Villains, it has to be beautiful, special, you know. I'm not gonna buy a hardcover that looks like this. I'm not gonna do that. That's like a waste of money. So that's how my system works with hardcovers. And I also have some classic cloth bounds, but that's just a collector's item, I say. When I will read them, I don't know. Will I read them? I don't know, but they look pretty on my shelf, so you know, I'm here for it.
So much books and so little time, or something like that. Yeah, it will be subtitles, so if someone don't know what you're saying, it's like help for them.
I love that you're doing that. It's like extra work, but you're still doing it, so that's cool. They should appreciate that. They should. You should put this in the video, me telling that you should appreciate what she's doing for you guys, okay? Remember that. Remember. Not let that slip.
Thank you so much. Okay, and really interesting question. Tell us something about your book collection. How many books are in it? What is the first and the last book you have bought? And are you collecting them like Alaska in Looking for Alaska and call it Life Library?
Again, such a subject that I cannot stop talking about. So I'll try my best to make it short. I am in love with my collection. Sometimes I'm just chilling somewhere in my room and I'm looking throughout my collection like, yeah, I'm proud to be owning this. I currently have a total of 181 books, physical copies in my room. 181 books. I was shocked. I was like, damn, Lars, no wonder you're broke. Yeah. I already told you the first one. It's obviously The Boat at the End from Adam Silvera. But I'm the kind of person now who will go to the city for one book, comes back with 4. Yeah, it's a bad habit. I don't care. I'm here for it, you know? I'm living my life. Okay, so the last time I went to the city, I think it was last Wednesday, I got A Court of Frost and Starlight and A Court of Silver Flames. The rest of the Actor series. I want to be able to continue the series, so I thought, why not get them? Why not get them, you know? And that's what I did. I'm gonna be aesthetically pleasing for you watchers. Okay. Oh, yes. Okay. Wow. Sarah J. Maas, hire me for promotion. Okay. If I want to read a book that I know it's a duology or a series, I need at least 2 books. I need to be able to have the first book and the second book. The first book sucks, but the second book can redeem it. I will buy the rest of the series, you know? If the first book is really great, but the second book, not that much, I might consider buying the rest, but probably not. And if they're both good, well, obviously I'm getting them. If I know that a certain book is a duology and a duology only, I have to get the full duology before I can read them. Blood marked, and it's a second book of Legendborn. So now I can finally read this duology and talk about the hype, because apparently this is also very hyped on Book Talk. And I am like Alaska, I am collecting them. My mom literally asked me 2 weeks ago when we were in Amsterdam, she said, Lars, you have already so many books, why do you keep on buying them? I'm like, well, you know, maybe I will get old and I will get the chance to read them all, so why not start collecting them? And I do not call it my life library, I just call it my safe space.
Books have fascinating plots, and they are often have their movies adaptation. And what is your attitude to books that become movies? And do you like watching movies after reading books? And what books don't need movie adaptation?
9 out of 10 times I do not like the movie adaptation, because the thing is, what I love about books is you can use your own imagination. You can decide how they look and you can like make it your own. And with these movies, it's so permanent and it will never match with how you saw it in your head, you know? But if I might give it a shot, like watching the movie, I will watch the movie after reading it. 9 out of 10 times I don't even finish that movie, but that's fine. But there's one series, it's a series I think it's called, The Summer I Turned Pretty. It's being filmed on Amazon Prime, and I do like that one. I even do like it more than the books. And there's one book / series that I do not want to be filmed at all. I will pay to cancel the movie. It's about the Sheremy series. They cannot, no. If they will do that, I will cancel that and I will make sure it won't even see the daylight, because I love these books and I just don't want them as a movie, because I mean, I do trust Tahira Mafi, but I feel like the actors are gonna be off and everything's gonna be different how you imagine it. And I love about Sheremy series, it's pure your imagination and it goes as far as your imagination, you know, and that's why I don't hope it will become a movie.
Yeah, I read the first book of Sheremy series, and I think it will be really hard to do the adaptation, because the effects that they need to use, if like cheap effects.
Yeah, they don't have the budget. Yeah, they don't have the budget for it,
yeah.
And they will indeed make it like look cheap, and I think that would not do it justice.
When we read, we have a lot of book quotes and moments we like. And how do you highlight your book quotes? What do you think about fully painted and highlighted books?
So, as I just said that I'm not that obsessed with the Sheremy series, guess what book I'm holding? Yeah, here we have it. No, but this is just a coincidence because I fully highly annotated this book. I don't know if you can see it, but I annotate my books with only pen. I just use one black pen and I would just underline everything that I love. Sometimes do little drawings or just write my thoughts next to it, but I never use markers or... Okay, so it's mixed feelings. I do love it when a book is like annotated, but not too much highlight. I love when they sometimes mix the highlight with underlining with black pen, but if it's too much of a highlight, I feel like it's about to be a coloring book, and personally it's just not my taste. It's not my... I just don't really like that. But I do love it when a book is fully highlighted but only underlining and little thoughts written with black pen. I just love that. Just love it when a book, if you can see that the book has been read. You know, you can see little dents, little damage, you can see highlights in it. I just love that. That's just my kind of taste in books. At
first time I was really scared because I thought it's a damage, it's a vandalism when you write something, but I now thought that it's your own book and you can do what you want.
You literally paid like full price for it, so why not do with it whatever you want? It's basically your book, so do it. For the people that are watching this, just do it. don't worry. And if you think that it's gonna look ugly, it's probably not, because it's gonna end up looking aesthetically pleasing.
What do you prefer? Audio, ebooks, or paperback?
I have all three of them. I have the audiobooks, I have a Kindle, and I have paperbacks, obviously. But I just want paperbacks. I just need to hold a book, and when I will hold it, my mind only stays focused on the book. If I would listen to an audiobook, I get distracted. I would do stuff around me and will lose the plot, and it's too complicated. And I also have a Kindle, and I use only my Kindle for romance books now. I start buying physical romance books because the plot of romance is really basic. They have interest, the 80% breakup, they end up with each other. I think that's not worth my money, if I'm going to be honest, so I would rather buy them cheap on a Kindle. So that's why the upcoming paperbacks that I will buy are just fantasy books, sci-fi, whatever, Greek mythology. So I use my Kindle, but only if I'm in the mood to read a romance book. But besides that, I just need a paperback.
My friend asked me to ask you this question, so
Your friends?
They are popular in Ukraine too.
No, they know me. Do they know me?
Only one friend I have that knows you, but we can break it.
Thank you. I'm sorry, but being an influencer is so weird. I have people in a bookshop walking up to me, be like, "Hey, are you that guy from TikTok?" And I'm like, yeah. Or it's also so weird. You will be standing in the bookshop and I'm like looking through books. And I'm like, wait. And then I walk or turn around, and then they see that I turn around, and they're like, I'm like, oh no. And they will whisper behind your back, be like, that's that guy. That's like. And I'm like, don't do this to me. Don't. I'm just a guy. I'm not a fucking Kim Kardashian. I'm just a guy who makes videos about books. You can just walk up to me. I don't bite. I do not bite. Yeah, no, I'm kidding.
Okay, so but you know her, Numago. That was her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that her? Is that your friend? That's so cool. I talked to her. Wait, what's her user
Numago.
again? Wait, I can't see it right now on my laptop, but that's so cool. I did not know. Oh, shizzles. That's so
she's
cool.
also from
Okay, tell
Ukraine,
her
you
hi
have
for
fans
me.
in here too.
Oh, that's so sweet. No, I might cry. Wait, let's stop.
Okay, and she asked me to ask you this question. If it would be possible to ask one question to the one after, who will he or she be and why?
Yet again, to hear a Muffy from the Shenmue series, but I do not have an obsession. No, I do want to ask her a question, because in the last book, it's kind of driven to, believe me, it's the last novella. It's like driven to a certain event, but when the event is about to happen, it just stops. It's just, you won't see what happens. So it's kind of an open ending, but it's also not. And I just want to ask her why she did that to us. I was looking for this event, and then nothing. We weren't able to read any word about it. So I just want to know why. And I will sneak in another question and be like, can we have a certain novella about two people, like ASAP, because I kind of need that. I can't say who because I will give spoilers, but I just need a novella about two certain people, and I need that. It's like the life cure.
There have been a lot of new books coming out lately, and what book announcements are you waiting the most?
Almost begging Anna Huang. I don't know if you know her. She's pretty well known for her romance books. But I literally would beg her to tell about every book that she's gonna bring out in the King of Sins series. It's King of Wrath and King of Pride. These are the only two books that are released. But she announced the other book coming. But I think, a total of 9 books, and there's only 2 out, and the third one just, got revealed. So I still have to wait for the third one. But I would just want her to know and tell me what the other books are about, because I cannot wait to read all the other 8 books, because these romance books, I just said that I would not buy romance books and only on my Kindle, but these are really worth it. So if you're looking for great romance books, but I do recommend reading the Twisted series before reading the King of Sins series.
Okay. We highlight quotes, our favorite moments, underline sometimes that you told us. And what is your favorite book quote that motivates you never give up?
Okay, so I had a struggle, I'm not gonna lie, with answering this question, because they're like kind of 2 questions in one, and I just want to separate them, so I'm separating your question. My favorite quote about never give up is from Everything by Nikolai Yoon, and on page, people, if you want to walk with me, it's all, and you read it, because otherwise you will see spoilers. We're not gonna do that, okay? And if you will go to page 79, there's gonna be a sentence, and it says, just because you can't experience everything doesn't mean you shouldn't experience everything. And I really love that quote, because it's basically telling you why not experience everything. Why give up and not be able to experience it all, So I really love that quote, and it really inspires me to not give up, because I am the kind of person who wants to travel, wants to experience every culture, everything. But then you also said like your favorite book quote, and my favorite book quote was in my favorite book, The Invisible Life, Eddie LaRue. And it says, there's a defiance in being a dreamer, and that's like poetically, and let me translate it to like normal English. It's like, there is a challenge in being a dreamer. And people really told me to get my head out of the clouds, stop being a dreamer and face reality. But why should we give up that freedom? Why should we not be allowed to dream and just escape for a moment and just be happy, And that's like also motivates me to be a dreamer and not hold yourself back and become this boring person who will work at an office job from 9 till 5, only wearing gray suits. And yeah, that's why. Just never stop being a dreamer, because that's the one thing we have that nobody should take away from us.
Last question. What would you like to wish to our viewers?
I wish everyone who's watching this video that if you're in a slump, that you will get out of it as we speak. And I wish you all the happiness and freedom in who you are and where you are. And happy reading, I guess.
Thank you so much that you come here today. It was really...
Yeah, well, thank you for inviting me.
It was so atmospheric communication and today.
Yeah, I love talking to you. We should not get out of touch, because we should do this often. This
I agree,
is fun.
it will be great.
I love this.
I think that
we
can stop our recording.
Okay.